Let us be still a moment, not for effect, not as a prelude to performance, but because the word must be born of silence, or it is not the word at all. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. These are not ceremonial instructions, they are law. In this quiet, a certain assurance dawns, and from that assurance the teaching flows of itself. I speak to you not from theory, not from speculation, but from years devoted to this one subject, the realization of God as the life of individual being. Again and again, in sick rooms, in sorrowing homes, at tables empty of bread and hearts empty of consolation, the same law has operated. Oneness realized is freedom experienced. It is absolute truth. The world will say, resolve the story, finish the chapter, make peace with the past before you may go on. That is the human demand for closure. The world makes idols and bows to them, and this closure is one such idol. It is an image formed of memory, time, and psychology, and it demands sacrifice. You have felt its finger upon you. You have heard it whisper, not yet, not until the account is balanced, not until you have dotted the last I, will you be free. My friends, I say this to you with tenderness and firmness. Freedom is not earned by finishing a story. It is received by realizing oneness now. Be still and know that I am God. Not be busy and resolve it. Be still and know it. The kingdom of God is within you, not at the end of an episode, not at the conclusion of a drama, within you now. I and my Father are one. That is the foundation, not two, not God and you striking a bargain, not God at a distance waiting for you to repair your history. God expressed as your very being. Know ye not that ye are the temple of the living God? The life which is God is your individual life. The mind which is God is your individual mind in its true function. The substance which is God is your very substance. This is not presumption, it is scripture. It is the Master's own testimony and Paul's affirmation, Christ in you, the hope of glory. There is only one I, infinitely individualized, and in that one there is no lapse, no gap, no missing piece to be hunted down before grace will flow. The Father within doeth the works. If you will receive it, closure is a name the world gives to its need to feel in control. But the Spirit has never promised control. It has promised presence. It has promised sufficiency. All that the Father hath is mine, and sufficiency does not wait upon human conclusions. When we seek to tie a ribbon upon an old hurt before we dare to live, we are placing the effect before the cause. Cause is realized identity. Effect is the peace that follows. Reverse it, and you chase a mirage. Put it in order, and you discover the well of water springing up into everlasting life where you stand. Do not misunderstand me. I am not saying ignore your duties, deny your feelings, or call darkness light. I am saying that in the midst of whatever appears, unfinished conversations, unhealed griefs, unanswered questions, there stands the I that is God expressed, complete, indivisible, untouched by the tale that human sense tells. Begin there. Begin always there. Let silence introduce you to the one. Even now, as you listen, take a breath that is not yours, but God's breath in you, and know, I and the Father are one. I and the Father are sufficient. I and the Father are the peace which needs no certificate from yesterday to be valid today. In our work together, I shall give you a simple sentence that distills this truth into daily practice. I set this world free. That is not escapism. It is not indifference. It is not a shrug of the shoulders. It is the act of recognizing that neither person nor event holds jurisdiction over the freedom that is your birthright in God. 1 minute a day, impersonal, without argument, without memory. I set this world free, and you will feel the weight lift that you did not know you were carrying. No closure needed. Set them free and walk on. You will understand more of this in the hours ahead, but I wish the seed sown now in the quiet where seeds take root. The reason this operates is that love is law. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Not sentiment, not human affection alone, but love as the recognition of God, as the identity of all who appear. In that recognition, the claim that someone must satisfy your ledger before you may breathe dissolves of its own nothingness. The ledger itself is seen to be kept by the carnal mind, the universal belief in separation, and you are no longer its clerk. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is simply this: I behold God where the world beholds a character and a plot. And because I behold God, I am free at this instant, and my brother is free in my seeing. If I desire anything at all, where am I to go for it? Right here, within, to the place where the Father and I are one. Not to a future conclusion, not to a therapist's signed release, not to an apology the world may never offer. To the secret place of the Most High, where the decision has already been rendered. Neither do I condemn thee. If there is no condemnation, there is nothing to close. There is only life revealing itself as wholeness now. So we begin quietly. We begin as we must continue, in the closet, with the door shut, listening for the still small assurance that does not argue. Let it speak in you. I and my Father are one. Let it show you that your freedom is not postponed by the calendar. And when the thought of unfinished things rises up to claim you, smile gently and say within yourself, I set this world free, and walk on. Not away from duty, but away from bondage. Not away from love, but into the love that is law and sufficiency. In that oneness, freedom is not a reward at the end. It is the nature of the way itself. Walk in it now. Let us be very clear, very gentle, and very firm. If you would walk free, you must see what it is that has been enthroned in the temple of your attention. The world has carved a little image and named it closure, and it has set incense before it. It says, bow here, and when at last you have an explanation, an apology, a final scene that tidies the loose threads, then you may breathe. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. If you seek the permission of that image, you have placed it before the infinite. You have asked a shadow to legislate your light. What is this closure? It is the mind's demand to control meaning, timing, and outcome. It is a bargaining posture with life. It says, when this resolves, then peace. When that person admits fault, then rest. When I understand why, then I can release. In other words, it tries to add height to stature by thinking harder, arranging smarter, and waiting longer. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? You know the answer. None. Control is a reed that breaks in the hand that leans upon it. Observe the trap. The moment freedom is tied to another's apology, you have given your breath to a mouth that is not yours. The moment it is tied to a perfect conversation, you have sentenced your heart to rehearse lines for a stage that may never be built. The moment it is tied to a final proof, you have postponed the only proof there is, presence. Take no thought for the morrow, not because tomorrow is unimportant, but because life is not parceled out by our mental calendars. When you postpone freedom, you are saying God shall be God then, not now. That is the essence of idolatry. Now contrast this bargaining with the fact that stands before all facts. Spirit is whole, without endings and without explanations. Spirit is completeness itself, and therefore the self, which is spirit individualized, is whole now. Ye are complete in him. Not you will be, you are. I and my Father are one. Not two, not God waiting for your scene to conclude. Christ in you, the hope of glory. The glory is not at the end of a drama. It is the life in the midst of you. When you accept this, a wonderful unhooking takes place. You do not need to close a story to be secure. You rest in completeness and let stories be as leaves that fall and bud by season. Do you see the subtle cruelty in judging by appearances? We say, because this looks unresolved, I must be unresolved. That is unrighteous judgment. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment looks through the scene to the one life expressing itself, and it refuses to let a fragmentary picture define the infinite canvas. It says, I behold God, not a tangle. I behold identity, not a character trapped in Act 3. Then the compulsion to fix the page dissolves, for you are reading the presence rather than the plot. I do not condemn you for having sought closure. Humanhood is trained to seek it. Neither do I condemn thee, but I call you higher. Be still and know the I in the midst of me is God. Say it within, not as a formula, but as recognition. I in the midst of me is God, complete, indivisible, sufficient. Feel what happens as the demand for a tidy bow softens and the bow of reverence bends instead. It is a different posture entirely. The one strains toward a finish, the other abides in the finished. The Alpha and Omega, that is always this instant. And now you understand why we cannot bargain with life and call it prayer. Prayer is not leverage. Prayer is relinquishment. Prayer releases the idol from its pedestal and restores the holy to its throne. When you cease chasing the period at the end, you discover the presence at the center, and in that discovery the myth loses its voice. The self is whole now. Let the mind's little deity go silent. Be still, know, and walk on. Now we turn from the idol to the closet. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet. And when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father, which is in secret. And thy Father, which seeth in secret, shall reward thee openly. This is not a figure of speech. It is a blueprint. This is not ritual. It is the law of operation. If you will take this literally and inwardly, you will find that the atmosphere changes, not because you have said something correct, but because you have ceased looking outward for permission to live. When ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of, before ye ask him. Do you see how the Master refuses formulas and grants you a place of quiet where inspiration, not rehearsal, opens the way? How do we begin? Very simply, let the body be still. 2 or 3 natural breaths, not as technique, but as a sign that you are relinquishing the world's tempo. Shut the door not of wood and iron, but of mental traffic. The door shuts when you refuse to rehearse the narrative. You may notice the mind offering a scene to repair, a conversation to win, a ledger to balance. Do not argue with it. Do not follow it. Say within gently, Father within, and return to stillness. We are not here to fix a story. We are here to behold the storyteller. We are not here to line up proofs. We are here to yield to presence. Replace petition with identity. Do not say, God, fix this tangle. Say, God is the I of me. Do not say, give me the missing piece. Say, all that the Father hath is mine. Do not say, bring me closure. Say, I and my Father are one, complete, indivisible, sufficient. Be still, and let that sentence be recognition, not magic. Let it sink beneath the surface of words until it is felt as fact. In that moment, you are not trying to move God. You are consenting to be moved by God. You are not attempting to earn the reward. You are standing where the reward is forever flowing. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. As you abide here, notice what happens to the craving for a tidy end in the presence. There is nothing to justify, because love never charged you interest. In the presence, there is nothing to explain, because truth stands self-evident. The noise that shouted, "Finish this first," discovers it has no audience. Neither do I condemn thee. That is the decree issuing in the secret place. If there is no condemnation, there is no sentence to serve out to the last page. If there is only oneness, there is no second power to appease. Often I have watched, in my own practice and with those entrusted to me, how a few breaths in this inner room free an entire day from invisible obligations. Set this operational law in your heart. Love and secret prayer precede any outer step. Do not take counsel of hurt and then speak. Do not borrow the world's tongue and then expect heaven's fruit. When you stand praying, forgive. And when ye stand praying, forgive, if ye have aught against any, that your Father also which is in heaven may forgive you. Practically, this means no gossip leaves your lips. No mental arguments are waged in the theater of imagination. No verdicts are rendered on your brother or yourself. Instead, you keep the channel clear. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Don't seek the law to operate while you cherish an exception to love. Purge the heart quietly. In me now, no criticism, no judgment, no condemnation. Then be still. Then listen. Then the next step, if any, comes of itself. Make this your rhythm throughout the day. Not long, not strained, just that inward turn, those 2 or 3 breaths, the door shut, the recognition, God is the I of me. Then you rise and go about your affairs without bargaining for a finale. The meeting you must attend, go as one already complete. The memory that tugs, return it to the silence, and let love hold what you were never meant to grip. If a word is to be spoken, you will find it on your tongue at the moment of need. If an action is to be taken, the courage will be in your step. But the need to close the book before you live this page will have melted, for you have touched the life that needs no epilogue to be whole. This is the altar within the heart where freedom is received. Now, enter, shut the door, refuse the rehearsal, recognize the I. In secret stillness, the myth of closure loses its authority, and presence becomes enough. And when presence is enough, you are free to walk on. Let us look now with precision and tenderness at the way we see persons and events. If you retain persons as causes, you will retain chains. If you impersonalize both praise and blame, the chain falls of itself. The Master said, "Why callest thou me good? None is good save one, that is God." And again, "I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works." Do you see the law? Good is God revealing itself through instrument. To attribute good to person is to nourish an ego that will later demand defense, explanation, and yes, closure. In the same way, do not attribute evil to person. If you make a person the seat of evil, you have enthroned a second power and will spend your days petitioning one idol to quiet another. There is but one I. Scripture names the impersonality of error. The carnal mind is enmity against God, not your mind or mine. The carnal mind, universal, impersonal belief in separation suggests fear, guilt, retaliation. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against spiritual wickedness in high places. This is the diagnosis. The turbulence that tempts us does not originate in the identity that is God expressed. It is a broadcast with no lawful transmitter, a suggestion with no principle to uphold it. When you understand this, you will stop waging war on persons, including the person you call yourself. You will address suggestion as suggestion and behold identity as identity. This is not philosophy, it is operational sight. When a deed appears, harsh words, betrayal, neglect, free the person from the deed in your consciousness. Judge not the person by the act, judge righteous judgment. The act belongs to suggestion and ignorance. The person belongs to God. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Hear the grammar of heaven. Forgive them, not because they deserve sentimentality, but because they do not know, because the veil of the carnal mind has them in a trance. When you see this, forgiveness ceases to be effort. It becomes sight. You are no longer trying to manufacture magnanimity out of human virtue. You are recognizing the real behind the misperceived. Neither do I condemn thee. Do not read that as a moral shrug. It is the piercing gaze that refuses to attach sin to being. It is the revelation that identity is untouched and that only ignorance is to be dissolved. Go, and sin no more, follows naturally when condemnation has been withdrawn, because life is restored to its true source and need no longer drink from poisoned springs. The power to change does not come from shame. It comes from sight of what is and what is not. Prepare the channel, then, by releasing judgment, begin in the secret place. Bring to remembrance, if you must, a face or event that still throws its shadow across your heart. Do not rehearse the dialogue. Do not prosecute the case. Say within, softly and with authority, neither do I condemn thee. Say to the memory, I know thee after the spirit, not after the flesh. Say to the act, you are suggestion, not law. You have no principle, no cause, no power. Then let the breath of recognition move through. I and my Father are one. I and my brother are one in God. Close with the impersonal benediction that will become our daily rhythm. I set this world free. In that moment, you are not excusing. You are unhooking. You are allowing love, lawful, exact, operative, to flow where your judgment had damned it. Apply the same law to praise. When someone extols you, answer inwardly, why callest thou me good? It is the Father within that doeth the works. This is not false humility. It is right attribution. It saves you from the intoxication that makes you later susceptible to offense. If good is God through you, then insult and flattery lose jurisdiction over your peace. The instrument remains clear because it claims nothing for itself. Love as law can then continue its unobstructed operation. And when self-condemnation rises, oh, that ancient accuser treated as you treat all impersonality. Who shall lay anything to the charge of God's elect? It is God that justifieth. The accuser is not your own mind. It is the carnal mind's echo seeking a host. Refuse tenancy. Say within, neither do I condemn thee, and turn to the identity affirmations that are law. All that the Father hath is mine. I am the bread of life. I have meat to eat the world knows not of. Then stand still long enough to feel the current change. You will notice that the effort to forgive is replaced by the ease of beholding. The person is seen, the deed loses its mask, the flow resumes. I say this to you from practice, not precept. Release judgment and the atmosphere changes. Love is the fulfilling of the law. It is not a sentiment you must whip up. It is the nature of God recognized and permitted to act. Impersonalize praise, impersonalize blame. Locate evil where it is not in person, but in a universal no-thingness pretending to be thought, and the need for closure evaporates because there is no longer a ledger to balance. In that clarity, you are ready for the simplest practice of all, 1 minute a day of global impersonal release. But even now, without waiting for any technique, behold God where a face once stood accused, and know, forgiveness is sight, and sight is freedom. Set them free, and walk on. Let us now come to the gate that must open before any prayer can move. I do not say should open, I say must. The Master did not leave us to guess at procedure. And when ye stand praying, forgive if ye have aught against any, that your Father also which is in heaven may forgive you. Again, therefore if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. Do you hear the order? Not pray and then consider forgiveness if convenient. First be reconciled in consciousness, then pray. This is not moral embroidery. It is operational law. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Love is not sentiment. Love is not human fondness. Love is not a face you approve of. Love is the recognition of God as the identity of all being and the willing release of every claim that any person owes you your peace. Where love is, the current flows. Where love is withheld, the wire is cut, and you may shout prayers at the heavens until your throat is raw, but they travel nowhere. Hear me, God withholds nothing. The obstruction is not above, it is within the atmosphere you carry. Clear the atmosphere, and what is eternally given registers. How shall we clear it? Inventory the heart quietly, honestly, without drama. Before you offer a word of prayer, pause and sweep the inner room. In me now, no criticism. In me now, no resentment. In me now, no envy, no jealousy, no greed, no lust, no animality. In me now, no desire to see anyone corrected so that I may breathe. In me now, no ledger hidden under piety. Be thorough. If a face rises and the breath tightens, you have found a live wire. Do not argue. Do not justify. Say within at this instant, neither do I condemn thee. Then say the sentence that restores the circuit. In my heart at this instant, I release every individual from judgment and condemnation. Not tomorrow, not after I am heard. Now, then be still long enough to feel the click inside the loosening that tells you love has taken her lawful place. This is obedience, not preference. Do not wait to feel like it. Do not bargain for a sign. The sign follows the law. It does not precede it. If I regard iniquity in my heart, the Lord will not hear me, said the psalmist. The moment you choose release, you have ceased regarding iniquity as something to hold, and the prayer of identity can be heard where it matters within you. Then, and only then, the affirmations of truth are not words tossed against a wall. They are recognitions spoken through a clear instrument. All that the Father hath is mine. I and my Father are one. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. These are not sentences to hypnotize the mind. They are acknowledgments that the channel stands unclogged and the river is already running. Now to the hesitant heart that says, if I release them, am I excusing what should not be excused? No. Release does not legalize behavior. It legalizes grace. Release does not rewrite history. It removes history's hand from your throat. Release entrusts the governance of all things to the one law and frees you to see and to act without the grit of bitterness in your gear. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment can never be rendered while the court of your heart is seething. First dismiss the case from your private tribunal. Then, if an outer step is required, it will come to you clean, exact, and without venom. Love clears the instrument. Wisdom directs the hand. Make this a sacrament, not a slogan. Before every period of prayer, be it 60 seconds or 6 breaths, stand inside and empty the shelves. No criticism, no resentment, no envy, no jealousy, no greed, no lust, no animality. Say it slowly, not as superstition, but as surrender. Then add, in my heart at this instant, I release every individual from judgment and condemnation. I set this world free. Wait. Listen. When the inner weather changes, when the air grows soft, when the need to be right loosens its knot, you are ready. Love is in place. The law is fulfilled. The circuit is closed. Now, prayer is not petition. Now, prayer is God recognizing God where you are. I tell you plainly, you cannot omit this and expect demonstration. You cannot hold one exception and keep the line open. Love is the non-negotiable prerequisite because love is God, and God will not operate through a mind busy proving a case. Clear the channel. Let love be law in you. Then whatever else we practice, our 1-minute global release, our silent acknowledgments of oneness will act with the force of heaven because there is nothing in you resisting heaven. In that condition, answers are not granted, they are revealed. Freedom is not deferred, it is lived. Set them free, and you will discover the truth. In love's law, you were free all along. Let us make this very, very simple, because truth is simple when you stand in it. I speak to you from practice, not theory. 1 minute, not a technique to twist God's arm, but an opening in which God recognizes God where you are. Enter into thy closet, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. In that spirit, this is the rhythm. Step 1, stillness. 10 or 15 seconds will do. Sit if you can. Let the body grow quiet. 2 or 3 natural breaths, not as a trick, but as a sign that you are dropping the world's tempo. Be still and know, I in the midst of me is God, only one I. Hear it inwardly, not as a recital, as recognition, only one I, infinitely expressing as you, as me. Let that be the atmosphere. Step 2, identity. 10 or 15 seconds. Replace petition with acknowledgement. All that the Father hath is mine. Say it quietly and feel what it implies. Nothing missing, nothing delayed. I have meat to eat that ye know not of. The Master said that to those who thought bread was outside. In time, let it settle. I am the bread of life. I am nourished from the center out. You are not trying to bring supply to yourself. You are consenting to be the place where supply is already manifesting as sufficiency, as peace, as right action. Step 3, the release word. 20 to 25 seconds, slowly, very gently, with authority, say within, I set this world free. Persons, memories, institutions, I release all to God. Again, exactly once more, I set this world free. Persons, memories, institutions, I release all to God. And when ye stand praying, forgive. This is that law in operation. You are not naming exceptions. You are returning the universe to its rightful owner and relieving yourself of private governance. Feel for the click within, that little loosening that says the circuit is closing. Step 4, impersonal sight, 10 or 15 seconds. Do not strain to visualize. Simply allow whatever faces, places, or scenes rise to pass through light as birds crossing a quiet sky. Neither condemn nor cling. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Say inwardly, if it helps, I know you after the Spirit, not after the flesh. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. See the person as God. See the deed as a suggestion dissolving in light. Let them go. Let them go. Step 5, seal and walk. 10 or 15 seconds, a single breath of gratitude, not for an outcome, but for presence present. Thy Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Stand, if you are seated, and take one conscious step forward. Literally, put one foot in front of the other as a sacrament. Walk on, not because the outer story has closed, but because in oneness you abide in the finished work. The act of stepping seals the inner release. You have moved from the tribunal of private judgment into the freedom of God's government. This is 1 minute. Do not despise its smallness. 1 minute is enough because God is enough. The infinite does not require a long appointment to be itself. What this minute does is change your atmosphere. It clears the wire so that what is eternally given may register where you are. It does not perform magic on people and scenes. It removes the hand of history from your throat and restores you to the breath of I and my Father are one. Make it your rhythm. Upon waking before the day hires your attention, give this minute. Midday, when the world is loud, give this minute. Before sleep, when the mind tries to rehearse, give this minute. In each case, it is the same sacrament. Stillness, identity, release word, impersonal sight, seal, and walk. You may find yourself extending beyond 60 seconds. That is fine, provided the extension is inspiration, not superstition. But never say, I have not the time. Remember, your Father which seeth in secret is not on a clock. 1 minute is enough, because God is omnipresence, not a lengthened consultation. Do not confuse this with ritual. If you do these steps as a charm, you will end with words in the air. If you do them as recognition, as love-fulfilling law in you, the reward is immediate, freedom in the midst. Neither do I condemn thee. Hear that tone within as you release the world to God. It is not leniency, it is law taking its own. And then you will find the very next word you must speak in an outer matter comes unforced, or the next restraint you must keep comes with peace, or the next email you must send writes itself without venom. The open reward is the naturalness of right action without bondage to outcome. For some of you, there will be moments during this minute when a particular memory shouts for exception. There is no argument to be made. Return to the sentence, I set this world free, persons, memories, institutions, I release all to God. If tears come, let them come. If nothing at all seems to come, that is fine too. The work is in the relinquishment, not in the feeling. Love is the fulfilling of the law. You have loved in that instant because you have stopped demanding a return on your hurt. This can be said in a phrase you may carry into every corridor. No closure needed, set them free and walk on. Say it under your breath as you exit a meeting. Say it in the car outside a hospital. Say it when the news assaults your senses. No closure needed, set them free and walk on. Not avoidance, entrustment. Not passivity, peace. Not indifference, love governed by law. And then take your step. The step matters. It is your amen. Keep this minute as your friend. Keep it as your plumb line. Keep it as your response when the world tries to hire you as its bailiff. 1 minute of impersonal release restores you to the freedom that was never absent, only unregistered. Enter your closet. Honor identity. Speak the release. See impersonally. Seal with gratitude and walk. Do this at dawn, at noon, at night, and you will prove that freedom does not wait for a period at the end of any story. In oneness, you are whole now. Set the world free and walk on. Let us place the guardrails, because love governed by law has edges. Release is not excusing harm. It is not the soft fog that blurs lines and calls it mercy. It is entrusting persons and outcomes to God while standing as a clear instrument of righteousness. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Wisdom establishes boundaries. Harmlessness removes venom. If you must say no without hate. If you must withdraw without private punishment. If you must enforce a consequence in your home or your business, do it with the poise that knows governance is of God, not of your hurt. Let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. Release cleans your motives so your yes is clean and your no is clean. Release is not mental manipulation. Never pray that God change anyone. That form of prayer is useless because it begins with two powers and a project. Do not ask heaven to repair a personality. Acknowledge God as the I of that one and the I of you. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. If a word is to be spoken, it will come of itself, free of pressure. If a silence is to be kept, it will be clean, not sulking. Your prayer is not, make them see. Your prayer is, Father, reveal thyself as the only identity here. Then you step aside from the engineer's booth and permit God to be God. That is release. Release is not denial of pain. We are not Stoics. Jesus wept. You may weep. You may feel the pangs of a wound or the ache of a loss, but you do not install that ache as your identity. The pain is a visitor. You are the temple. He restoreth my soul. In release, you stop saying, I am the injured one, and you begin to know, I in the midst of me is God. You let the waves move through while you refuse to build a house on them. You say to your own heart, gently, neither do I condemn thee. And you allow love to rinse the sting without building a monument to it. Release is not bargaining for closure. It does not say, if they apologize, if the case is solved, if the chapter ends neatly, then I will be free. That is the idol we have named. Release forgoes the preferred ending and abides in present sufficiency. My grace is sufficient for thee. Not later, now. All that the Father hath is mine. The minute you demand a specific epilogue, you climb back on the bench as judge. Step down. Let God be the author and finisher while you live this page in wholeness. Release is not passivity. The fruit of inner freedom is right action, precise, timely, and free of revenge or fear. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, said Moses. And a breath later, speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. First the stillness, then the step. After release, you may make a call, set a policy, end a contract, report a wrong, reconcile, or take counsel without the grit of bitterness in the gear. Avenge not yourselves, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Do you see? You are not inert. You are unobstructed. You do not abandon justice. You abandon private retribution. Then action is clean and outcomes rest where they always have in God. Keep these lines bright within. Release entrusts. It does not excuse. Release acknowledges identity. It does not manage personality. Release allows feeling. It does not crown feeling as self. Release yields the ending. It abides the enough. Release acts. It does not react. If ever you feel the old heat rise, urgency to fix someone, hunger to see them feel what you felt, the tremor that says not free until, that is your bell. Enter your closet, 2 breaths. I and my Father are one. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Then quietly, I set this world free. Persons, memories, institutions I release all to God. Wait for the click, however slight, then take the single next step in front of you. No more, no less. We walk by faith, not by sight. Faith here is not wishing. It is knowing the one I as the only life and law, and letting that knowing regulate speech, boundary, and deed. In that atmosphere, you will prove the promise that began our work. Freedom does not wait for a period at the end of any story. It flowers where love fulfills the law and the heart refuses private government. Entrust everything to God, and you will act wisely without inner bondage. Set the world free and walk on. Across valleys, the law is the same. Do not imagine a different God for different sorrows. The same presence, the same oneness, the same minute of impersonal release operates whether the ache is loss, the sting is treachery, the pressure is systemic, or the voice is your own accusing heart. Every circumstance becomes an altar for the identical surrender. I set this world free. Persons, memories, institutions, I release all to God. Then you walk on. Let us speak first of grief. Do not hurry your tears. Jesus wept. There is no condemnation in a wet face, but learn not to build a shrine to yesterday. In your closet, 60 seconds, be still and let the ache be present without becoming you. Whisper, I and my Father are one. Love is not in time. Hear the Master. I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. Life is unbroken. Identity is never in a perishable form. In your minute, do not force forgetfulness. Practice release. Say, I set this world free, this face I miss, this room now quiet, I release all to God. Let the wave pass through and add, He restoreth my soul. I have watched a mother call her Miriam, who lost a son. Sit daily with this minute. She did not try to remember less. She learned to hold him more truly. Day by day the knot slackened. The love remained, now unhooked from the clock. Thy Father knoweth. In that atmosphere, you will find strength to write the letter, to pack the box, to plant the tree without making an idol of sorrow. The bond is not severed, the bondage is. Now betrayal. There is a particular heat in the wound of trusted hands. Do not enthrone a second power there. Enter thy closet first. Neither do I condemn thee, applied to the one within who would punish and to the one without who is unfaithful. Then impersonalize. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. See the act as suggestion without law. See the person as God's. Say it twice, slowly. I set this world free. I set this person free to God. This is not naivete. It is jurisdiction. You take the case off your bench and put it where it belongs. Then attend to your future. Release that too. All that the Father hath is mine. I have meat to eat that ye know not of. Your supply was never in that promise broken. Your destiny is not held hostage by that apology delayed. In the minute of release, you become available to present guidance. The next conversation will come, or the boundary, or the silence clean, not sulking. Love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. This is not human heroism. It is divine sight. You are acknowledging one I as the life of all and refusing to let a chapter define the book. Walk on. Injustice asks for both clarity and courage. Include institutions and systems in the release, or you will waste your strength hating windmills. When you stand praying, forgive goes farther than a face. It reaches into policies, boards, markets, courts. Say it. I set this world free, persons and systems I release all to God. Then act. What doth the Lord require of thee but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God? Do justly, vote, advocate, legislate, litigate if you must, but cleanse the atmosphere of hate. Hate clouds judgment, love clarifies it. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Harmless means no venom, Wise means no gullibility. We wrestle against principalities, against powers, so your battle plan begins in spirit and expresses as measured steps. Remember, the government shall be upon his shoulder. Let that be your inner government as you labor outwardly. Keep the release minute as your plumb line before meetings, courtrooms, and streets. Entrust outcomes to God. Give yourself to right action without private revenge. Then action is clean, and its reward is the peace of obedience, whether or not the paper calls it victory today. And what of the oldest valley, self-condemnation? Here the accuser tries the cleverest masquerade using your own voice. Answer with law. Who shall lay anything to the charge of God's elect? It is God that justifieth. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus. In your closet, say aloud if you must, neither do I condemn me. Not sentiment, sight. Separate the deed from the doer in your own case exactly as you do for others. The past was the operation of ignorance. It had no law, no God in it. Impersonalize error, personalize grace. Then turn to identity. Christ in me, the hope of glory. I and my Father are one. Add the release word. I set my past free. I set myself free. I release all to God. Stand there until the knot of self-punishment loosens even a little. If restitution is yours to make, it will present itself without the lash. If amendment is required, it will be steady, not frantic. Shame never healed a soul. Sight does. I say this to you emphatically. The same practice serves every valley. Do not invent a new ritual for each sorrow. 1 minute, 3 times a day, if you will. Consistency outperforms intensity. Give us this day our daily bread, not tomorrow's consolations, not next year's fairness, this day's manna. As thy days, so shall thy strength be. Line upon line, precept upon precept, the heart becomes a clear instrument. Keep the rhythm, stillness, identity, release word, impersonal sight, seal and walk. You will discover that while stories unfold, freedom is not postponed. Love fulfills the law now. Oneness is sufficiency now. Let every shadowed place become an altar for the same impersonal release and the same present freedom. Set the world free, faces, memories, institutions, and walk on. Let us speak now of supply, not as coins and signatures, but as consciousness, God expressing as your very being. Hear the law in its simplicity. All that the Father hath is mine. Not after closure, not after apologies, not after the papers are filed and the chapter ends with a bow. Now, this is not poetry, it is identity. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Want is a belief in two. Sufficiency is the recognition of one. When you abide as one with the source, you cease to live by siphon pulling, prodding, extracting from persons and events, and you begin to live by fountain. The life which is God is your individual life. You are not an orphan in a market. You are the temple of the living God. Shift your dependence. Therefore, no person is your supply. No apology is your oxygen. No outcome is your bread. I have meat to eat that ye know not of, said the Master to disciples who were sure nourishment lay in what could be handed across a table. That meat is inner sufficiency, spirit feeding itself as peace, as ideas, as right contacts, as strength. When you are tempted to look around the room and appoint an object to be your savior, this one's approval, that one's money, that door's label, catch yourself and return to the center. I and my Father are one, only one I. Then let gratitude rise, not for a specific package, but for presence present. Thy Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Supply is not sent supply is realized. How do we walk on when some piece seems missing? We do not wait for the peace. We walk from completeness. After your 1 minute release, take the next right step as a sacrament of oneness. Send the email that stands in front of you without pleading in it, without fear in it, without trying to make it perform. Decline the argument that promises closure. Silence becomes your yes to peace. Begin the new work with the tools in your hand today, not the tools you imagine will be delivered tomorrow. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Let that be your atmosphere. Then the step is clean, free from the sticky fingers of if only. The moment you move from inner sufficiency, the outer takes its rightful scale means, not master, channel, not cause. Do not confuse seeking for knowing. Seeking is the motion of a beggar. Knowing is the rest of an heir. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Seeking the kingdom is not a hunt in the clouds. It is the quiet acknowledgement that the kingdom is within you as the I that is God. Then, without strain, all these things, the appointments, the places, the forms, arrange themselves as added things. You are no longer trying to extract from a spouse the reassurance that is only found in oneness. No longer twisting a client to pay you with words they do not owe. No longer bargaining with life to supply your worth. Worth is God's, expressed as you. My grace is sufficient for thee. Grace is enough now. Therefore, you are enough now. What are the signs that you are walking in this consciousness? Calm for no good reason. Clarity that simplifies the next step. Simple right action that does not telegraph its virtue. Perhaps a lightness in the chest, a loosening in the brow, a sense that time is no longer your master. These are relatively unimportant, but they help. The sign is never the substance. The substance is the realized presence. If nothing at all seems to appear as feeling, do not disturb the ground. Truth operates whether or not the weather of your body announces it. The reward that is open is often simply this: you are no longer leaning on reeds that break. Your movement grows unhurried. Your speech loses the tremor of need. Your hand finds its task without fret. Keep your eyes off effects. Do not stare at the ledger as a weather vane for God. Do not count apologies to measure peace. Effects are shadows. Consciousness is cause. Take no thought for your life. What ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, is not the life more than meat and the body than raiment? Take no thought does not mean take no step. It means let the step be born of knowing, not of panic. Let the minutes of release be your quieting of the engine. Let the act that follows be your consent that God is the doer where you are. You will find doors opening you did not knock upon, and if a door closes, you will not bruise your shoulder against it, because you are not trying to prove sufficiency by outcome. I say this to you tenderly but firmly, because you lack nothing now you can walk on now. Not bravado obedience, obedience to the truth of oneness, obedience to love as the law of operation. Walk on without the missing piece, because the piece is presence. Walk on without the perfect sentence, because the word is already within you. Walk on without the signed check, because your bread is life itself. And as you walk, release the world again and again to God, and watch supply reveal itself as what it has always been, the infinite living itself as your day. Let us make this a rule of life, not a flash of comfort. Freedom becomes stable when release becomes rhythm. Rhythm is not bondage. It is love keeping an appointment with itself. Give us this day our daily bread. Daily, because sufficiency is now not archived. So set your cadence. Morning minute, midday minute, evening minute. Upon waking, before the world hires your attention 1 minute. At midday, precisely when noise swells, 1 minute. Before sleep, when the heart is tempted to rehearse, 1 minute. More only if inspiration draws you, never because fear demands it. Remember, thy Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. You are not logging time, you are consenting to presence. Keep a quiet ledger, not a diary of outcomes, a witness of faithfulness. A single line is enough. Set them free, walked on. That is all. You are not scoring yourself. You are acknowledging obedience. Effects are shadows. Consciousness is cause. The ledger is a light touch on the helm, not a prosecutor's file. Once a day, glance at it. If a day shows blank, do not condemn yourself. Write, returned, and return. Neither do I condemn thee. Then take your next step. I have watched a shopkeeper call her Ruth slip a small card into the till. Each lunchtime she wrote those 6 words, closed the drawer, and opened her hands to customers who had once stirred her dread. By month's end, the card was creased and quiet with witness. Not proof to show the world, proof to silence fear. Guard the secret place. Power grows in silence. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Share testimonies sparingly and only when the inner nod authorizes speech. Often the sap is spoiled by display. The Master healed and then said, See thou tell no man. Matthew 8-4. Not forever, for the season required to root the work in God and not in applause. Do not quote your minute as merit. Do not parade your releases as leverage. Keep your practice inward and your conduct outwardly natural. The open reward is right action without the tremor of need. Now hear a warning in love. You cannot heal if you are double-minded. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Do not release at dawn and rehearse grievances at noon. Doth a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? If you catch the tongue inventing arguments in your absence, if you find your fingers rethreading a wound, do not scold, correct. Close the door, literally, if you can, and give the minute. 2 breaths. I and my Father are one. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Then, with tenderness toward your own heart, I set this world free, persons, memories, institutions I release all to God. This is not starting over, it is staying over. The practice is not fragile, it is living water. Return and be clean. Readiness has signs. You will notice that judgment shorten and tenderness lengthens. The inner trial grows brief, the mercy grows spacious. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is sight beyond the act to identity. You will find that you move before explanations arrive. Not rashly, rightly. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. A word will be given, or a silence kept, and you will obey without needing a committee report from the mind. Your yes will be yes, and your no, no. Let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. No venom in the no, no flattery in the yes. The measure of readiness is not how much you feel, but how little you require of circumstances to be free. Let the rhythm carry you. Morning, you open the day uncluttered. Midday, you clear the line before it snarls. Evening, you hand the world back before sleep teaches the nervous system to clutch. Keep the ledger with a whisper. Set them free, walked on. Whisper it not to the air, but to the Father within. Guard the closet. Speak little of your springs until the tree is heavy with fruit and the Spirit itself chooses the telling. And if you find the old habit return, argument rehearsed, condemnation polished, do not panic. Rhythm receives you again. 1 minute. Stillness. Identity. Release. Impersonal sight. Gratitude. Then the small step forward. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Law means dependability. Put love into rhythm, and you will prove law in your affairs. The day will not make you. You will walk through the day as the temple walks through the market present, unhurried, with a cleared channel. And in that constancy you will know why we have labored with such emphasis. Freedom is not an event, it is a way. When release becomes rhythm, freedom ceases to flicker and begins to abide. Set the world free again, and walk on. Beloved, let this be said simply and finally. There is only one I, one life. I and my Father are one, not two, not near and far, not holy and human, but God expressed individually as you. The only bondage that has ever whispered to you is the suggestion of separation, and that suggestion has no law to sustain it. The kingdom of God is within you. Therefore, freedom is within you. It is not earned by finishing a story. It is realized by being what you are now. Carry the whole practice in one breath. Stillness, be still, and know the I in the midst of you is God. Identity, acknowledge, I and my Father are one. Only one I. Release, say, I set this world free, persons, memories, institutions, I release all to God. Sight, judge not by the appearance, see God as the only identity here. Seal, thy grace is sufficient for me. Step, take the single right action before you without haste, without fear. This is the way, and it is sufficient. Before we go, let us speak blessing without exception. To every face that arises now in your thought, friend and stranger, debtor and judge, betrayer and beloved, to every figure of your past and every emblem of your future, hear the word of the Master. Neither do I condemn thee. I say it over your own heart as well. Neither do I condemn thee. And I add the prayer of sight, not sentiment. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Not persons in power, not ignorance with authority, not your own. Yesterday carries any sentence in this court. We release the world to God. We set it free. Do not wait for closure. Do not wait for the period at the end of the sentence, for the apology, for the judge's gavel, for the final talk. That is not your freedom. Obey love now. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Let your feet confirm your prayer. Arise, take up thy bed and walk. If there is a call to make it without bargaining. If there is a no to speak, speak it without venom. If there is a silence to hold it without sulk. If there is bread to break it without fear of tomorrow's loaf. Take no thought, your heavenly Father knoweth. And as you move as the temple, not the beggar, as the instrument, not the engineer. I speak this to you gently, but with the firmness of law proven. You are not sent out to fix a world, you are sent to reveal a kingdom. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Allow that to be your confidence. Do not gaze at effects as weather vanes for spirit. Do not inquire of the ledger how much God you have. Let the sign of obedience be this. You require less and less of circumstances to be free, and yet your action grows more precise, more timely, more clean. We walk by faith, not by sight. Faith is not wishing, it is identity known and lived. Now I place the charge in your hands as something simple enough for a child and weighty enough for a prophet. Morning, noon, and night, 1 minute. Stillness, identity, release, sight, seal, step. Keep the whisper ledger. Set them free. Walked on. Speak little of it. Let the open reward be your unhurried presence, your clean boundaries, your words without tremor. And when the old heat flares, when mind rehearses, when the heart clutches, stop and return. The spring is not fragile. Truth does not bruise. We will close in quiet. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not the world's closure gift, but the Christ peace that is whole without epilogues. In this stillness, know, all that the Father hath is mine. Know, it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And over every remembered name say once more within, neither do I condemn thee. Then as you open your eyes, let there be one literal step across a threshold, down a hall, toward a task, away from an argument, as a small enacted yes to oneness. In realized oneness, you are free. Set the world free and walk on.